Bye, you little devil. Hey guys, what's up? It's Red. So today I have a video for you guys that I'm hoping might help at least a few of you. Now, some of these tips might not come as a surprise. You might have read them. It might not help. I don't know. But I have a few book recommendations that personally help me through reading slumps that I wanted to share with you guys in case they help even just one of you. Even just one of you, because we all know how horrible those reading slumps are, how much they hurt our souls, and I'm hoping this video will help out a little bit with that and restore a piece of your humanity, your reading humanity. The first one, which is my top recommendation, and this unfortunately might not be applicable to a lot of you because I'm sure a lot of you have already read it, but this one, pretty much any book in this series actually helps me with reading slumps like nothing else ever has. Ever. And that would be The Selection by Kiera Cass. Keep in mind, I was in a really bad reading slump when I first picked up this book. I originally picked up this book not even thinking I was going to like it, but I wanted to know what the big deal was because I kept hearing about it. At the time that I picked this book up, only The Selection and The Elite were out at the time. The one had not come out yet, and we didn't even know that The Crown and The Heir were even going to be a thing. But I picked this up, not really expecting to like it, but I was curious. And I was kind of in a reading slump. I had already put down probably 6 other books that just were not catching my attention. I was sick in bed. I grabbed this book, read it in one sitting. It reads so fast. It is so fun. It is just a very compelling book. It's very easy to fall into. But what I love is that it doesn't feel like it's consuming all of your time. And for me, that's what I need when I'm in a slump. I need a book that feels fast-paced. I don't want to get too caught up in lots of scenery details, which there are times where I really appreciate the imagery, the extra details in books, even don't mind that they're a little slower paced. But when I'm in a reading slump, that is not one of those times. I need something that feels fast-paced, that can grip me very easily, or I'm going to put it down because I'm already failing to find that motivation to keep reading. This book definitely did that for me. The rest of the series also helped out when those books came along. And I absolutely love this. This was a book I did not expect to like and fell in love. So if you've been putting this book off because you've seen it around but you just don't think it's really up your alley, give it a chance. Give it a chance because I absolutely did not think that I would like it. Brittany from Brittany's Book Find, I recommended this to her when she was in a slump. She definitely isn't really into frilly books, anything like that. She loved it. So give this a chance before you decide whether it's for you or not. The next book I have to recommend to you guys is Fangirl by Rainbow Rowell. Now, I wanted to pick books that were a little less read, just so that it was going to create more options for you guys. But at the same time, I wanted to share the books that actually help me, that I have real life experience with helping me through reading slumps, which is how I picked this selection. Fangirl, even over Eleanor and Park, although I love Eleanor and Park, this book was just very easy to fall into. It was very light. It wasn't too intense. It made it very easy to get back into the flow of reading without feeling all the demand. If you don't know, this is about a girl who goes off to college. She and her twin sister kind of have a rift because her sister wants to separate and party and make new friends and create a new life. And Kath doesn't know how to separate herself from her introverted world that she knows. She thrives in her fan fiction and she's struggling to make those connections at school, but it's a very great book. It's really sweet and the characters are very interesting and it's so relatable. Especially to a lot of us readers. So definitely give this one a chance if you have not picked it up yet. The next one I have for you guys is We Were Liars by E. Lockhart. This was a birthday gift from Cassie last year and I don't know why I started it because I was in the middle of finals and a lot of times I have a hard time reading when I'm very bogged down with schoolwork, homework, especially finals. I am so stressed out and I'm so busy that it makes it very hard to get into any book. Not because the book's not good or not even because I don't want to read, but because I have to stop and put it down and pick it up and put it down and pick it up, and it makes it impossible to get into. And it's very frustrating. This book I picked up during final season, and I actually neglected some of my final studying because this gripped me so much that this actually took priority. Not a healthy priority, but a priority. I would recommend it to anyone. Now, I want to tell you what it's about. I will tell you enough that it's about a private family island, I think in the Hamptons somewhere. It's very like hoity-toity rich people island, but it's so good. And it's so good. I found the ending very, very predictable. That being said, it did not lessen the effect of the ending for me, and I absolutely adored this book. But what I loved most was how fast it gripped me, how easy I found it to get into, because I am notorious for getting bored in the beginning of books, and in a slump, that is the worst thing. On a good day, I get bored during the beginning of books, and I have a hard time pushing myself to the good parts. So when a book can grip me during a reading slump, that's saying something. The next book I have for you guys is The Princess Bride by William Goldman. Now, I'm sure a lot of you are very familiar with the movie. I'm pretty sure almost all of you are very familiar with the movie. It's absolutely one of my favorite movies, and the book is absolutely incredible. Don't be fooled like I was. A lot of them will say that they are abridged by William Goldman, but that's just him being quirky. He didn't actually abridge a longer work. It's just one of those things where he wants you to think that it's based off of something else when it's not. It's just him being quirky. What I really love about this book, though, is that it captures the adventure and the characters that we know and love in the movie. But the important thing about this book is that it captures that wit. It captures that sarcasm, that very light kind of unconventional mood that the movie tends to create for you, and he captures it even more so in this book. This book is so weird and conventional and quirky. I don't know any better word for this book than quirky. The ending, definitely not what you think it's gonna be. This book is really, really good. If you're a fan of the movie, I highly, highly, highly recommend this book. And for those of you that are less familiar somehow, it's filled with princesses and princes and pirates and adventure and giants, and just this book is good. And now I just really kind of want to reread it because now that I'm talking about it, I kind of need it in my life again. The last book I have to recommend to you guys is Me Before You by Jojo Moyes. And I know that there has been a huge surge around this book lately because of the movie, which was really, really good, by the way. And a lot of you might have already picked this up. This is actually the book that I guess it is because it's still June, but for our April, May, June Biblio Book Club book, this was the book you guys chose. The reason I'm picking this book, however, is again, it has to do with the thing I have with beginnings, where I just get bored usually. But this one, it wasn't like it had this super gripping beginning, but it was such a smooth and easy transition into this book that I thoroughly enjoyed the process of reading it. It was just very well done. You didn't feel too bogged down with unnecessary scenes or people, and there was just enough depth to all of the subplots, to the characters, that you felt very invested in these characters and invested in their lives. The reason I'm picking this book, however, is again, it has to do with the thing I have with beginnings, where I just get bored usually. But this one, it wasn't like it had this super gripping beginning, but it was such a smooth and easy transition into this book that I thoroughly enjoyed the process of reading it. It was just very well done. You didn't feel too bogged down with unnecessary scenes or people, and there was just enough depth to all of the subplots, to the characters, that you felt very invested in these characters and invested in their lives. What I also love about this book, and the best way I can explain it, is when you're reading, you feel like you've only read maybe 7 pages, and then you look at the page count and it turns out you've actually read 20. This book, you have no idea how many pages you're getting through because it reads so fast. You barely feel like you're reading. You're gliding through it so easily, so fast. You're so involved in the story, you kind of forget you're reading at all. You're so engrossed in these characters and in these stories that you might as well not even be reading it off the pages. It's just playing in your head. And I think that's so important during a slump because you need to forget that you're reading. You need to get out of that slump in your head, and this book does that. I'm not going to get too far into my other tips for reading slumps because I'm sure you've heard them before. But one thing I will say is that if you've picked up and put down several books and it's just not working for you, you maybe don't even feel like reading. Maybe there's something else that you want to be doing. Just go ahead and do it. No one's judging you. No one's judging you but you. And it's important not to force yourself to read when that's not what you want to be doing, because it won't make you less of a reader. It won't make your love for reading any less. It just means that you need a break and you have other interests, and you don't want to come to resent reading because you feel like you should be. Sometimes slumps are just that. You just don't feel like reading, and that's okay. But you are inherently a reader, and that desire to read will come back. The other thing is that sometimes you know you want to read, but you're still slumping anyway. A lot of that I find for myself, especially if you have a busy schedule, is you fall out of that reading routine. I know when I'm really reading a lot, I really have a routine down every day when it comes to my reading. It makes it very, very easy to continue that, because the days that I'm not, I feel like my day is missing something. So the next day I'm back at the reading because I want to feel that void that I've created, because I had ingrained reading in my schedule so tightly that not having it in my day felt like I was missing something. And it made me keep to my reading schedule that much more. The biggest advice I can give for that is make sure you carve out a chunk of time every single day. It doesn't have to be 5 hours, but carve out a chunk every day. And when you stick to that schedule long enough, you're gonna create that pattern. And those days that you miss it, you will feel that void again that's going to keep you reading. It's like you have to build that habit to read again. You have to build it back into your life and back into your schedule. And eventually you'll start falling right back into it. You just have to create that time for yourself. So that is all the advice I have for you guys today. I hope some of it helped a little bit. I know some of it was a little bit repetitive. I'm sure some of it you've heard before. And if even one of those books helped you guys, I will be happy and I will be content, because I know reading slumps suck. We all go through them and they're terrible. I want to know what books have helped you guys get out of your reading slumps, because I am always compiling my list for future slumps because I know I'm going to have them. So comment down below what your favorite books during reading slumps were, or books that helped you out when you were struggling to find a book to get into. So that is all for this video, and I will talk to you guys later.